Hello, I'm Pat Cunningham and welcome to my series of videos explaining equity release. Today I'm going to talk about me, Pat Cunningham. You've probably seen all these videos that's on my site and you're saying, well, who is this guy Pat Cunningham explaining equity release? You know, never heard of him. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am 71 years of age and I live in Cunningham in Essex. I've been retired a few years now, and let me tell you how I got into equity release. Okay, now what's today? Today's the 14th of July 2020, so it was Christmas of last year, Christmas 2019, 6 months ago, whatever it was. I was watching a football match actually on television over Christmas, and at half time there was an advert on the TV which showed a guy all suited and booted and going to this elderly couple's house and talking to them about equity release and coming out and getting in his car and driving away. So I looked at this and I thought, I can do that. I'd like to do that. So that was at Christmas. So I came away and I did my research on the internet, and I saw that you needed certain qualifications, something called what is known as CMAP and CRER. And I thought, what are they? What's all that about? Anyway, I found out about them, and I found out I could learn this stuff. So I got in touch with the London Institute of Banking and Finance, and they sent me the course, if you like, the Bibles, two huge virtually telephone directories. I've got them here. Look, this is one of them. Look how big it is, like a telephone directory. So it's a big old thing. In fact, there's two of these. Look, there's two. So I mean, they're pretty heavy. So you imagine two telephone directories, and you've got to learn everything that's in there as a 71-year-old. So I got these in mid-January this year, and got my head down and I started studying. Went on the wagon, didn't have any glasses of beer or anything, just studied. I had some knowledge of mortgages when I had some buy-to-lets a few years ago, so I understood about buy-to-lets and mortgages and generally those sort of things. So I wasn't absolutely new to it. So I studied very hard, and by, when was it? Mid-March. So it was about 8 weeks later. I applied for my examinations. There are 6 hours of exams, so 3 2-hour exams that you have to sit to get this CMAP qualification. And I studied hard and doing revision and all the rest. It's not easy when you're a 71-year-old to go back to school and do all this, but I was determined to do it, and I took the examination and fortunately passed with flying colours and got my CMAP, the Certificate of Mortgage Advice and Practice. That's what it stands for, Certificate of Mortgage Advice and Practice. So I've got that certificate, which allows me to use the initials after my name as a qualification. But then, in order to be able to talk about equity release, and you'll have seen this on my videos, there is a specialist qualification that you need for equity release, which is the Certificate of Regulated Equity Release, and another big book to study, which is a completely separate exam. So I had that book, and I studied again, and on March the 16th this year I took the Regulated Equity Release exam, and I passed that, and I was very pleased to achieve that ambition, and even got a distinction in the exam, so that was the cream on the cake. That was lovely. And then straight away we went into this COVID lockdown. So there I was with all these qualifications, all dressed up and nowhere to go really. So anyway, I achieved that ambition. But once I had studied equity release, I realised I really had a passion for it. I really think it's a great concept for people for whom it is appropriate. And I also then quickly saw that equity release had a bit of a bad name really. It's had some bad press, which is why it became regulated, of course, because maybe things weren't as they sounded when people were selling equity release, and so the authorities had to regulate this and then bring in these equity release advisors who are specialists in dealing with elderly people, people who may be vulnerable, and to make sure that things were done ethically. So I now have a great passion for this, and so I want to spend my time explaining equity release, as I say, warts and all, the good bits and the bad bits, so people understand it, and dispel some of these myths that have grown up. These myths, they came about because of things that happened some time ago, but they don't necessarily happen now. If they don't happen now and things have been put in place, but talk about give a dog a bad name, it'll always be there. So I want to get this message across. Now, I don't work for anybody. I don't represent any companies. I'm not allied to anybody. I don't advertise for anybody. You will never hear me mention a firm or a broker. I don't do that. I'm just telling you as it is. So my views are my own, independent views. As you can see from my videos, I don't use a script, I just talk. So I don't read from things, I tell it as it is, as I see it, and I hope that makes it clear for you. So what I do is, in fact, I am registered with a particular intermediary as an introducer, not as an advisor, but as an introducer, where if somebody is looking to consider equity release, then I can introduce them to this intermediary. I won't say who they are, but they are, let me say, they're in the top 3 in the country. I won't say whether they're number 1, number 2 or number 3. I'm not going to tell you who they are because it's not appropriate. But if you feel that you want to do equity release and you want to ask me any questions, I'll be delighted to answer them. And I would then introduce you to this company who have equity release advisors nationwide, and one of their equity release advisors will come along and meet you and discuss your requirements. If you wanted me to attend the first meeting, I'll be pleased to, not a problem. So I'd introduce you. I would get a fee. I would get a fee from the lender, but I wouldn't get any money for you. I'm not selling you anything. I'm never going to ask you for money. You'll never give me money. If you take out equity release, at the very end, if it all goes through, I would then get an introducer's fee, which is quite standard in the industry. But you won't pay me anything. I'll never ask you for anything. I'm not selling you anything. So that's who I am. That's what I do. So I am qualified to speak about equity release, and I'm delighted to answer any questions, and I hope you enjoy looking at the videos I've made on explaining equity release, and it helps to educate and share with others. So there we are, that's who I am. As always, my blog address is there for more information, and as always, you can always telephone me, as you know, and ask any questions. I'll be delighted to answer them. Okay, on with the videos. See you soon.